So as we march forward in the show, you got a wide list of topics, but first and foremost, let's just kind of recap what happened last night. Uh, it was a disappointing night at UFC Vegas 105, but but it tees up UFC 314 to potentially match an undesirable record. What record is that? You're looking at potentially 5 straight weeks of no fight of the night. We've had 4 straight weeks, no fight of the night. So you get some extra performance bonuses, but no fight is Dana White and the UFC looking at and saying, hey, that was the fight of the night for 4 weeks in a row. That's a major, major problem. And this is dating back like, I think even more than 10 years ago. We haven't seen this. But you know what? At the end of the day, we started out 5-2, and then we collapsed, fell to 5-6 last night, 12 fight card. Then the main event comes with all types of implications. We don't want to have a losing night, obviously. You know, you can have some 500 nights to match the 11-2 nights you're going to have, and it'll help your record throughout the year. But we need a 6-6 night, and then we need to get back to 6-6 in the main event. After starting 4-7 last year, 6-6 doesn't sound bad at all. Well, thankfully, Lerone Murphy got the win. Regardless of how anyone feels about it, Lerone Murphy came away with the win. He remains undefeated at 16-0, and Josh Emmett looked frustrated. And that's important because that's where we stand right now, 6-6 on the year, with a huge card at UFC 314 with Volkanovski and Lopez. So the big story today is who are we going to go with? We got to get to 7-6 before the bye week, the off week, if you will. Now, some other things going on. According to CNBC, UFC signs wide-ranging sponsorship deal with Meta, bringing Mark Zuckerberg closer to Dana White. And, you know, I'm excited about this. One, just because of the UFC rankings. I think we need AI to get involved with the UFC rankings, right? So it's out of human hands, and you see all types of problems with this. But you know, if I can even go a step further, I like to get the judges out of human hands as well. And I'm not specifically big on taking everything out of human hands all over the globe, and but it's going to happen anyway, and we're going to have to adjust. But in terms of just a UFC, there's certain things we need to take decisions out of human hands and let the computer do it. There should be a computer scoring system, but nonetheless, Dana White in a statement to CNBC said Mark and his team at Meta are going to do things that will blow away UFC fans. Zuckerberg in his statement to CNBC says, I love this sport and I'm looking forward to working with UFC to let fans experience it in new ways. So, you know, Mark Zuckerberg really has done a total 180. And this is in part due to a few things. One, the changing political environment. Two, the fact that Zuckerberg is just getting older. And people tend, of course, there's still older people that are on the Democratic side, if you will, but a lot of times as people get older, they become more conservative. That's just a natural thing. And you're starting to see that with Zuckerberg. So a little bit is the changing political tide, a little bit is Zuckerberg's getting older, and a little bit is the fact that he trains in MMA now, and you become, uh, I would say, almost more of a capitalist when you do that. It's like you against everybody, right? Uh, you know, and you got to perform and you got to do well, and there's no bailout. The bailout is to tap, but in real life, there's no such thing as a tap, right? So you got all these things going on for Mark Zuckerberg, and he's kind of done a total 180. Now signing with the UFC, and more to come on that. We'll see where it goes, but you know, it's exciting. Also, Merab Dvalishvili wants returned to the trash talking Sean O'Malley ahead of the rematch. So if you haven't heard about this, got Merab Dvalishvili versus Sean O'Malley.
Sugar Show, baby! Woo!
And I can't wait for this one because we told you, and I should have pulled the clip today. I didn't. But we told you heading into the new year who's going to be UFC champions at the end of the year. And if clearly we're going to get some of those wrong. We're going to get Alex Pineda wrong. Uh, this featherweight division's up for grabs now. Who knows how that's going to play out? But we did tell you that we believe that Sean O'Malley will end the year with the title.
I love the Sugar Show.
That's right. Sean O'Malley's coming back for the title.
I love the Sugar Show.
So we'll see what happens there. But highly intriguing fight, Dvalishvili versus O'Malley, the rematch. And Dvalishvili just basically saying on Instagram, cut it out. Go back to the trash talk. I need to be mad at you again. You know, it's always easier to be mad at your opponent going into the fight, right? It causes you to focus, hone in a little better, and we'll see if O'Malley gives it to him or if O'Malley is older now, only by a year or two, right? But just over his span in the UFC, if he's kind of calming down and he's not going to play those games and he's going to get really focused for the fight. Because I think for Merab, if O'Malley's talking trash, he's not focused. He kind of equates those two things. Moving forward, UFC feud between Topuria and ex-champ Charles Oliveira escalates with latest comments. On the Ariel Helwani show, Oliveira said, "But I have firepower in my wrist, and I'm really focused on the belt itself. It's not about who is going. It's not about who it's going to be on my way, but getting the belt. He's just trying to dig out a fight. He's saying a lot of crap. I really respect his fights, the way he's come up and everything, but he's very disrespectful now and is saying a lot of things that he shouldn't." So, okay, you have this feud going on. Who really cares? I'm trying to figure out. And then last night, if you didn't hear this, a Spanish broadcast, if that's the correct way to interpret it, but the Hispanic broadcast basically said that this fight is official and the UFC had to walk it back. So they kind of leaked this thing. And with all this going on, I'm wondering, like, why does Topuria have to fight Charles Oliveira? Why doesn't he just get to fight Makhachev? Clearly one of the top fighters in the world right now. And I just hate all these delay games when you already, not that you know what's going to happen. It's not that Charles Oliveira can't beat Topuria. He probably could. But Topuria has done enough to fight for the belt. They both beat Volkanovski and beat him. Beat him. And they should be fighting for the lightweight title. That's the bottom line. Now, last night at UFC Vegas 105, working our way back for a moment, and speaking to Facebook while we're here, pros reacted to bizarre scorecard in one of the fights last night featuring Torres Finet, even saying fire that judge on sight. See, the UFC brought a boxing judge into MMA. And Torres Finet dominated the whole fight on the ground. He didn't do much there, but clearly won the fight, like 2-1 at worst, if not 3-0. And you had the judge go 3-0 the other way. Because he's just taken out the whole ground game and just focusing on strikes, and then the other fighter he gave the victory to in every round. See, this is the problem with humans judging fights, especially in the UFC. Boxing is a little different because it's stretched out over 8, 10, 12, and the old day 15 rounds, less likely to have mistakes made, right? Maybe there's a bad round in here or there where the judges disagree, but over the long 10 rounds, it's going to work itself out, more times than it would in the UFC. When you have 3 rounds, we need a scoring system, man. If a judge has one bad round, it could cost a guy a fight, and it happens all the time. Instead, we got strikes, we got takedowns, we got control time, we got head strikes, body strikes, leg strikes, total strikes, takedown defense. There's all types of ways they could set up a scoring system like a football game or basketball game, and we can kind of see things winding down. It would take away the energy post-fight, when it's like and new or and still champion, but it would be more like a game where you can see this clock ticking down and you can see the score like dead even and something's got to happen here. And both guys are throwing down at the end to try to get their points up. And then bam, at the end, we know who won the fight. That's kind of what we need. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, they got to get rid of that guy. That wasn't a good idea at all. Islam Makhachev's team issues definitive response to rumor about UFC 315, where they're saying Makhachev is waiting for Bilal Muhammad to fight to see how that fight goes down, because if Bilal loses, right, he doesn't want to fight Bilal because they kind of train together. They're all on the same team. And so, but if Jack De La Maddalena wins, if JDM wins, then Makhachev could move up. But Ali Abdelaziz is saying his waiting, Makhachev's waiting to make his next move is fake news. Who coined that term, I wonder? Everyone uses it now. I love it. But yeah, is it fake news? I don't think it is. I think it makes a heck of a lot of sense. Because if Bilal wins, then Islam's staying at lightweight. If Bilal loses, then he's not. And this just goes back to like similar to Aljamain Sterling and Murad Dvalishvili. Aljamain had to walk away and leave the division. You know, thankfully for the division, he lost. I hate to say that, but O'Malley won, and you get like a situation where okay, it's not like he's like just dropping the belt. You know, it stinks when guys drop. It stinks when Topuria leaves the belt. Not that he shouldn't, but he leaves the belt and he hasn't lost, right? So, you know, it's better if they stay and finish it out because when they walk away, I mean, it's not better, but when they walk away, it just leaves you like, is the next guy really the champ? You know, eventually we move on from that, but it leaves a lot of doubt. Like, okay, if Topuria goes a lightweight and doesn't do well and he comes back to featherweight, shouldn't he dominate whoever to get the belt back? It doesn't always work out that way though. But that's kind of where we stand right now. That's kind of where we stand.